Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, the dorky token black guy that's just trying to get by, and welcome to another edition of the Garou Densetsu Flashback. In order to commemorate over 25 years of the franchise, I'm taking it upon myself to share my memories of playing the games in the arcades and our home consoles at that period of time, and as well share my thoughts and feelings on other Garou Densetsu related media. So, in 1995, fighting games were evolving. They were getting amped up. We already had we had adaptations of the Street Fighter, both in live action and in anime form. We also had the Mortal Kombat movie that came out, which was freaking awesome. And games like Street Fighter were taken to the next level with the Zero series. More fighting games came out, like Marvel Superheroes, X-Men: Children of the Atom, and as well, fighting games ended up going into 3D territory with Virtua Fighter and Tekken. Plus, at this time, I actually started taking martial arts. This is back in 1995. And despite this excitement, one thing was missing. I have not seen a Garou Densetsu game. No one was talking about it. I haven't seen another game. And I remember being in my dojo at the time, and I was telling someone, we were talking about fighting games and how, like, some of us would try to do certain moves and everything. And then I mentioned, yo, guys, like, what's up with Garou Densetsu? Well, at the time, I called it Fatal Fury. I was like, yo, what's up with Fatal Fury? Like, that was cool. And they were like, oh, that old game, man, that thing is old. And I'm like, it ain't that old. Shoot. There was a game that came out 2 years ago. Can't be that old. It was like, oh, Dave, you're living in the past, living in it now, blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, I met a couple other people later on, and they actually ended up becoming my bros and everything, and I found out that they actually liked Garou Densetsu. Heck, they actually had the Garou Densetsu movie, the Japanese one, non-English dubbed, with the subtitles, and I was happy as hell. And needless to say, it was glad to find other fans of the series, and I was watching this with them, and I was like, man, you know what sucks? There ain't no more Garou Densetsu games being made. And then, actually, guys, if you saw my immediate reaction to Star Wars The Last Jedi, you met Isao. This is the time period where I met Isao. And it was Isao that told me, Dave, what are you talking about? They just had another game out. I'm like, word? He was like, yeah, dude. Fourth game just came out. I'm like, whoa. Fourth game? There was a third game. And it was like, well, third game came out beginning of the year, and there was another game that came out. And damn, did I miss it, So I asked them basically what was happening with the games, blah, 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 blah. Where can I find these, and this brought me to going into Manhattan a hell of a lot more, which also caused me to start skipping school and going to Manhattan, but that's a different story, But it was there that I actually found Real Bout Garou Densetsu in Chinatown, in the Manhattan Chinatown. Now, before I go into Real Bout Garou Densetsu, however, we must talk about the third game in the series, Garou Densetsu 3. Road to the Final Victory. Okay? So, this particular game I did not play in the arcades. And I got Isao to thank for at least informing me not only about Garou Densetsu 3, Garou Densetsu Real Bout, and Ryoku no Ken 3, I might talk about that. See, it depends on what happens. But I might talk about Ryoku no Ken in the future, guys. And introduced me to King of Fighters series, So just get that out the way and everything. This is how I actually ended up being able to get back into the swing with some of the SNK games. And when I saw Garou Densetsu 3, I was happy as hell. They also showed me places to go where I could get my PlayStation modified so I'll be able to play some of these games, And I picked up Garou Densetsu 3, and was very mixed on it. The graphics were awesome. I liked the control was a lot better. This was the best control for any SNK game at that time, well, for me at that time, because everything was like, things weren't stiff with the movements. You could flow with it, and it was easy to combo and all. But the thing was, one of the things that really stuck out to me was every Garou Densetsu game had a plot. No one was really talking about the plot, really, until I asked a couple other people where I started to get to know some other folk. And they was like, oh yeah, the plot had to do with some scrolls and everything. Which I'm like, okay, that was lame. But then, 2 years later, I found out the real plot. And the plot to Garou Densetsu 3 was that everyone found out in Southtown that Geese Howard was still alive, and he got back control of Southtown. One of the reasons he got back control of Southtown was that he actually stole the Scrolls of Jin, and the Scrolls of Jin were created during the Warring period of China, and he got one scroll from Tung Fu Ru, the master of Hakyoku Seiken, which I must bring this up. In my Garou Densetsu OVA review, I mentioned that the Hakyoku Seiken was made up for the game, for the movie, for the OVA, and it was not in the game. That was a mistake, because what I meant to say was it was not as important or, as much talked about in the game. The thing with the game was Tung Fu Ru was the only person that used Hakyoku Seiken as a move, and basically, that was the only real mention and real, purpose of Hakyoku Seiken in the game purposes. It had more important purpose in the OVA and the motion picture, but it was just a move from Tung Fu Ru. Anyway, Guy stole one of the scrolls from Tung Fu, and after Terry defeated Krauser, right, Geese actually went to Krauser, whom also had one of the other scrolls from Jin. So the third scroll, was out there. And so what Geese did was he created another King of Fighters tournament in Southtown in order to lure out anyone that had the third scroll, which he did, and that's the plot of the game. The King of Fighters tournament was just a lure to get additional scroll for Geese to get immense power and immortality. And in this game, a lot of the people from the previous games were not here. And that was kind of jarring to me, because I was like, wait a minute, where's Big Bear / Raiden? Where's Chen? Where's Jubei? Where's Kim? Where's Duck? Where are these people? So that was my experience with playing Garou Densetsu 3, and the home console on the PlayStation. However, one thing that I really like about the game, storyline-wise, Geese ends up being the winner of the King of Fighters tournament. Something that was not really thought of at the time. The lead antagonist winning the tournament. Geese was able to get a hold of all three scrolls and everything, and he was able to defeat Terry, Oh, and by the way, this game introduced the people that I like to call the Dragon Ball kids, These are the people that had the third scroll of Jin and everything. If I remember correctly, I didn't really like these characters too much and everything. I thought they were kind of meh. But if I remember their character names correctly, it's Jin Choso and Jin Chosen and everything. If I'm incorrect, please correct me in the comments below. But, and yeah, they were cool for a time, but it was like their design was like, oh, okay, red and everything, Emperor like, okay, cool. But then by the time we get to Real Bout, they're just meh, you know. Speaking of Real Bout, this was the game that I played in the arcades, and this was the game that I loved because this one, it wasn't as jarring to me. You know, I had a lot of the characters from Garou Densetsu 3, which, by the way, I should talk about right here. See, in Garou Densetsu 3, a lot of the characters from the previous two games got replaced. You know, we got Bob Wilson, who is a Brazilian capoeira stylist and everything, who takes Richard Meyer's place, you know. And we have this one dude that looks like an old school samurai who, by design, looks awesome, but in all actuality, he really is like useless and all. I forgot his name, but like that's one of the useless characters and everything. We got Franco Bash and everything, the new big guy of the game who's a kickboxer, whom at first I didn't like, but then kind of grew on me. And the breakout character, oh no, not the breakout character yet. We had Han Fu and everything, Jackie Chan lookalike using nunchucks, and the breakout character, Blue Mary, you know. And I'll talk about Blue Mary in the next video a lot more, you know, because she has something that's very unique. So then, we get to Real Bout Garou Densetsu, and this is the final game in the original Garou Densetsu storyline. This is the game where basically Terry and Geese have their final confrontation, you know. But unlike the previous game, this game actually had a lot more characters coming back. Kim Kafan came back. Duck King came back. Billy Kane came back. And Billy Kane's outfit was awesome. You know, all leather pants, leather boots, leather motorcycle jacket. Awesome look for Billy Kane, you know. The sad part is this is where the rivalry between Billy Kane and Andy died off, which I wish they still had it. But anywho, you know, this game, you know, the graphics from the previous game were really improved. The sound was tweaked up a little bit more because, you know, you had the sound in the previous game was a bit robotic and everything. Now, something that most people don't realize or most people don't know is that, yes, Terry did defeat Geese in this game, but it wasn't Terry by himself. Terry needed Andy's help. You know, Andy and Terry got to the semifinals, you know, and Terry told Andy, listen, I can't beat him on my own. I need help. You know, he's too powerful. You know, even these Dragon Ball twins can't defeat Geese, right? So what basically happens is Terry and Andy go up to the top of Howard Exchange together. They both take on Geese. Awesome battle. Andy realizes it's always been Terry's destiny to defeat Geese. So, and Andy actually does pretty well. Much better than when he first tried to fight Geese in the original game. And basically, he actually stalls Geese enough and staggers him enough for Terry to come in and do the triple power geyser that knocks Geese off his tower and everything. And Terry actually catches Geese. Now, the thing is, you know, while Terry hated and has hatred towards Geese and everything for killing his father, by this time, Terry wasn't after Geese for revenge. He was just wanting to basically be like, you know what? Me and Geese, we got this beef going on. It's never going to stop. We got to settle this thing once and for all and everything. And he defeated Geese. Cool. But he wanted to try to squash the beast as best as he could and everything. But Geese, feeling all powerful and everything, he's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not going to need your help. I can fall off and I'll probably live because these scrolls are supposed to grant me immortality. But we know that didn't happen. So, but, you know, I found Garou Densetsu 3 a little bit jarring and everything, but Real Bout Garou Densetsu really was a lot of fun. Great music, great control, you know, nice ring out feature and everything. And instead of using the middle plane and the black plane, you have 3 planes of usage. So yeah, the game was so much fun and it brought to a great conclusion for the early Garou Densetsu storyline. You know, agree? Disagree? Drop me a comment below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave or on Twitter at TokenDave80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, the dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. And I'll catch you guys later.